Good day for UConn football. We were able to sign 20 young men come in to be part of our family and part of our program, and really looking forward to getting an opportunity to coach them. It's a really good group. Like these guys a lot. I like what they bring to the table in terms of their athleticism, their versatility, all the things that you look for. So we got a lot better today. Got a lot better. And good thing about it is that 10 of these guys will be enrolling in school in January. So we have 10 mid-year guys coming in. We'll have 10 guys in June. We still will be recruiting. Got 5 more spots that we're looking to fill. We've got 12 guys on offense, 8 guys on defense. And the thing that some of these guys bring, they're able to play more than one position. There are a couple guys that, during the process we talked about, being on offense and defense, and they actually brought it up to me. So, but we got, guys on the offensive line that can come in and have a chance to compete. 2 JC guys that'll be here mid-year. Sidney Walker, a center, who's a 2 for 2, and then Alex Wynant, who's a 3 for 2. So they'll both be here early. Zach Early will be here in January as well, as will Marquise Alexander, Nate Carter, Alfred Shea, Brendan Heatherman, Carter Hooper, Keelan Marion, and Jonathan Seneca. So those 10 will be enrolling in school for the spring semester. The other thing that we were able to do, I had planned all along to sign 25 guys. That was the plan as we set out to put this class together last year. We've been able to manage the roster now pretty well in terms of getting what we're looking for and the numbers that we want at each position. So I really feel good. I really feel good about that. We got guys that have the ability to make plays. We have guys that have the ability to be returners. We've got a lot of guys that can return, as punt returners and kick returners, which we didn't have before. We got a lot of length. Got a lot of length in terms of the offensive and defensive lines, and we were pretty heavy there. 5 guys on the defensive line, 5 guys on the offensive line, and again, that's where it all starts. It starts up front, and then got speed at the linebacker level and athleticism in the secondary. Speed and athleticism at the return game, and also, at the wide receivers, and the running backs. We're able to get 2 tight ends that we feel good about, that will develop and have the athletic ability that we like to have, in our offense. So, any questions? Fire away.
Randy, what's a sales pitch when you walk into the living room? Is it for young guys a chance to play right away? These great facilities. What is the sales pitch of 2020?
Well, it's everything. Because again, if you're gonna be part of this program, you're gonna have to be a good student. You're gonna have to be a good person, and you're gonna have to be a good athlete. And you know what? You got to be willing to work. And if you're not willing to work, and if you're not willing to be coached, the one thing I've told every one of these young men that I've recruited since I've gotten here, that you're not going to be told what you want to hear, you're going to be told what you need to hear. And if you can't handle that, then this isn't the place for you. And, the thing is that all you do is you offer them an opportunity. And that's the neat thing about a lot of these guys. There's some guys coming in here that they know. One guy in particular said, "Coach, I don't want to be told that I'm going to move right in there. I want to earn what I get." And that's what we tell them. You're going to earn what you get here. You know, and if you earn it, you'll get it. I don't care, I tell them, I don't care who plays. Who's ever the best guy will play. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Whoever wants it. These kids, that's the thing that I like about these guys. They're workers. You know, they don't want to be given anything. They're not enabled. They're not entitled. You know, they're guys that, you know, some of these guys have been committed to us since last year, since last June. And other people, there's some other Power 5 schools that came in on a couple of these kids. And they stayed true to their word. So that tells you something about these kids. You know, and so really the sales pitch is here's what we have. You got a chance to get a quality education. You got a chance to play an outstanding schedule. Okay? You got a chance to be around the good people who are going to coach you, who are going to work to get you better in every phase of your life, and who are going to be upfront and honest with you. You know? And so that's the sales pitch. And if you want to play, there's only one person that determines that, and that's you. And how hard you want to work, and what do you want to invest to make that happen. And I tell you, our returning players, you know, they did a great job of hosting these young men. Did a great job. Coaches did a great job of doing what they're supposed to do in terms of evaluating and finding guys that fit what we're looking for. And we were able to find those guys, and we were able to manage, get our roster to where we need it to be from a number standpoint. And again, we still have probably another offensive lineman, running back, 2 corners, and a linebacker yet. It's kind of what we're looking for. So, you know, there's been a rhyme and reason to what we've been doing here. It's just not throw it against the wall and see what sticks. So I'm really thrilled with these guys. But that, you know, that's what we do. You know, and again, the biggest thing is we're upfront and honest with them. You know, we're upfront and honest with them, and that's the, you know, I think that's what kids, the really good kids, that's what they want. They want to be told what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, and the same thing with the parents.
Randy, did any of these commits ask you what life would be like playing an independent schedule? Did that ever come up?
Not really. You know, a couple did, you know, but, you know, again, life is about opportunity. And that's kind of what I said. You know, you come here, whatever you want to accomplish, you can accomplish here. You can do it. And so, again, and that's the one thing that, like, you know, I know, and I went into, I got to most, I mean, some of these guys committed, I couldn't get around to all of them. I'll go see some of them now in January because we only had 2 weeks. And to try to get around that, you know, I didn't have a helicopter or a private plane, you know, to fly around like some of these people do. So I couldn't get to everybody, you know, here in that 2-week period during December. And as we were trying to close some guys out. But, you know, I think a couple of things is, you know, a lot of these things that happen, it's relationships that you have with people. You know, Colin McCarthy, you know, his dad played here. And the kid loved it here. You know, loves to hunt and fish. Knows he can do that stuff here when he has time to do those things. You know, there's people, he was named the Defensive Player of the Year in New Jersey today. You know, that kid, you just love his aggressiveness. And he never wavered at all. You know, Quay Evans, you know, Quay Evans was there was a guy coaching there, Jerry Caldwell, who I coached at Georgia Tech. And that relationship helped us. Kenyatta Watson, the guy that I recruited to go to BC, was a guy that had, you know, that Keelan Marion had a relationship with from Grayson High School when he was there. You know, just like some of these other coaches, we've had relationships with guys. Rick Casco, Rayon Blake's coach. I've known him for over 20 years, 30 years. And since I've been coaching, when I started coaching at Syracuse, and he was the head coach down in Florida, you know that. So, you know, and again, the biggest thing is trying to get people, you know, these people, they'll listen to us. They don't listen to the outside noise. That's probably the best thing.
Randy, when you look at kids this year, did you look in particular for some kids who can contribute right away and some kids who you would groom?
No, we tried to find the best guys, Joe. You know, and again, there's going to be some positions where, again, the closer you are to the ball, the harder it is to get on if you're not strong enough or whatever. Yeah, we've got some, in some positions, like especially defensive line, we've got some depth build up. Now we can bring guys along, and they don't have to go in and play as true freshmen. You know, we had to do that before. Hopefully we don't have to do that unless the guy that is that much better, you know, now, because of what we've recruited and what we're trying to develop. But, you know, these kids, you know, they all, you know, like I said, good kids. Darius Bush, the kid, I go in and, last week and I was sitting down with his coach, and he played both offense and defense, probably played a little bit more defense, you know, this year because of what the coach needed. And I asked him, I asked his high school coach, I said, what do you think his best position is? And, you know, he thought it was probably on offense. I said, well, do you think he can play both? He said, yeah, he can play both, no problem at all. So Darius then comes in, and we're sitting there, and he poses to me. He says, Coach, can I play both at UConn? And I smiled, and I said, ask your coach what we just talked about. You know, and the coach told him. So here's a kid, you know, and those are the kind of kids they want to try to do as much, and plus he's a return guy, you know. So, you know, that's the thing, these kids have, that's the other thing in a lot of these kids that you sit down with and you talk to, you know, that gets you energized, gets you juiced up.
What do you like about the two junior college offensive linemen? Do you think that they could make an impact pretty quick?
Well, you know, Sidney Walker is a center, and he's played center, and, you know, he's a guy that's, you know, sitting down and talking to him, you know, was very, very impressive. He's a leader. He's a guy that isn't going to tell people what they want to hear. He understands that being a center, and he has the ability. He's got quickness. He's tough. You know, and I'm not going to get into his story, because he'll do that at some point in time. But just what he's gone through to get to where he's at, he's a worker and he's a competitor. And, you know, he's going to come in here and he's going to be a guy that's going to be, I can tell you, he's going to be one of our leaders. But he's got all the skills you're looking for in terms of quickness, in terms of, you know, the snaps, the intelligence, understanding defenses and what they can do. And Alex, you know, Alex is a big man who is broad, who's physical, who's overcome some injuries. And again, he's one of those guys that's very, very impressive when you sit down and you talk to him, and in terms of what he wants to do with his opportunity, you know, here at UConn. And there's some family things involved there, but there's some depth to these guys, you know. But those two guys have the ability to be able to come in and help us, you know, in the offensive line, you know. And by coming in January, it gives them an added advantage. But they possess the skills that you're looking for at a tackle and then at center.
What about the two defensive backs you got coming in? Same type of thing?
You know, Alfred, he gets bigger every time I see him, you know. He's growing. I had a chance to watch him play this fall when we went down to UCF, and he's got good range. He's got good ball skills. He's tough. You know, he's getting stronger, and by coming in, you know, mid-year is going to help him. And then Rayon, you know, is a guy who's very, very physical. You know, very, very physical. He's played both sides of the ball, and you know, he's very athletic. But again, those two guys give you the size and give you the range that at least I'm looking for, you know, back there in the secondary.
You went and got a couple more kids from Canada again. That seems like that's become an important part of your recruiting in Canada.
It is. It's, you know, we're gonna probably even devote more time, you know, there and have a guy that's there pretty much full time all the time, because there's good players, and the guys that we have gotten from there, you know, we think are going to do well here. And plus it gets back to, we have connections up there. You know, we have connections to, I have connections to where guys that I coached when I was at Syracuse who were there and working with young men. We have our own guys that played here who are up there living in that area. So again, and you know, and again, those guys, they appreciate the opportunity that they get here, and they're workers, and so you know that's something that's going to be an area for us that we're going to, you know, continue to pursue heavily.
Randy, the one thing that jumps out at me on this list is there's not one Connecticut kid on there. Should I be worried about that?
What's that?
There's not one Connecticut kid on our list. Is that something I should be worried about?
Just want the kids that want to be here. You know, we try to recruit kids. You know,
There were some kids in the state that you were.
yeah, those kids that we tried to recruit, I can't comment about them.
No.
They decided they didn't want to, you know, they didn't want to be here. That's fine with me, you know, but we're only going to go after the kids that want to be here. And whoever wants to be here, that's what I want. Because if you got to convince somebody to come here, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. You know, so all I'm pleased with is the ones that we've signed. And those guys wanted to be here, you know. So that's the only thing that concerns me, is the guys that want to be here. You know, and Joe, there's a lot of things that go into it. You know, there's academics that go into it, work ethic, you know, personality, you know, your roster, how many guys are going to take at a certain position. But we evaluate everybody. And, you know, whoever wants to, and there's kids from this state, this region that we've offered, they chose to go elsewhere.
Of the 5 spots that you have open, will you look for any transfers? And how does the transfer portal work from your perspective? Do you check it every day? You know,
We check it, you know, but you check it and you see. And what some people don't do is they don't do their due diligence when they check the portal. You know, I mean, we're gonna look at guys, and then we're gonna do our due diligence just like we do with a high school guy to see whether or not that guy can fit in. We're gonna call everybody. We're gonna call everybody we can to make sure, because most of the time when guys leave, go into the portal, they're going into the portal for one reason, for some type of reason. So you better make sure you understand what that reason is. You know, and for some guys, for some people, the portal's worked out. For other kids, it hasn't worked out. But that's their choice that they can do that. But no, we check it every day, Bill, to see who's in there, to see if there's a need. And then we'll do our due diligence and research to see, you know, if somebody can help us. But like I said, we'll take a look at it.
if a kid goes in there, do you contact the kid or do you have to contact the school?
No, if he goes in there, there's a thing where you can contact the kid without having to go anywhere. That's the thing that they changed. You know, that you don't have to, they can go in there and, you know, that way you don't have to they don't have to go and get permission and all those things. So, and there's a ton of guys in there. A ton of guys, you know.
What's the scouting report on the quarterback, Senecal?
Huh?
What's the scouting report on Senecal, the
Good
quarterback?
player. You know, he can run, he can throw. He's everything that we're looking for in a quarterback.
Every class seems to take a life of its own. How would you describe this class in a word or a phrase based on how you evaluated it?
Athletic and versatile. That's two, I know, but I
3 actually.
well, athletic, versatile. Okay. I took the end there.
Randy, you wouldn't talk about the schedule during the season. Can you address it now? How you like what you
No, I'm not gonna, Joe, this isn't the time or place. There'll come a time and place that I'll talk about all that stuff.
Okay.
This is about these kids and making our roster better and these young men that come in here. So, you know, right now we're still in the American Conference. We don't leave the American Conference till June 30th. And I'm not gonna talk about any of that stuff at least until July 1st, you know. And today's about these outstanding young men who decided to come here to continue to pursue their academic career, their athletic career, and to continue to develop as young men. And I couldn't be more thrilled to have these 20 guys, you know, as part of our program. And, you know, they've kind of gotten to close and then welcomed the other guys in. And, but I'm very pleased because we've had a plan going into this, and we've been able to execute that plan. That's the thing that pleases me, and that's because of a lot of hard work by assistant coaches, other people in terms of our recruiting department, you know, our players in terms of hosting them, and you know, and then for these young men to come here and say, hey, you know, I want to be a part of that because I know I can make a difference. And I can be part of something special.
Randy, one of your goals has always been bigger, faster, stronger. Is this group, are they getting bigger, stronger, faster when they get here?
I believe they will. I mean, I like where they are right now, okay? But yes, they will get from everything that we've done and looked at. These kids are workers and they'll get bigger, faster, stronger. They want to be bigger, faster, and stronger. They want to be the best they can be. And they want to spend that time. And you know what? And the young guys who hosted these guys and all that told them exactly what the expectations would be when they get here. And I know they're looking forward, our current players are looking forward to having them join the family so they can kind of take them under their wing and help them. And the neat thing about it is 10 of these guys are coming in mid-year. So it's not like just one guy or two guys. You know, it's almost a whole class is coming in. So they got 10 guys that are here that can, you know, be around each other. So they'll get here the 19th, they'll have orientation on the 20th, and they'll start classes on the 21st. And then we're starting spring ball February 3rd. So, you know, they're gonna get right into it right away. But no, bunch of really good guys, you know, bunch of really good guys. Quay Evans, he's playing in the Shrine Bowl this weekend. He's there now, South Carolina versus North Carolina. You know, he's there, taking part in that. You know, so again, he's a really good kid. And but again, it's all about relationships. You know, and like I said, I thought our coaches did a really good job of evaluating and then recruiting guys, because that's the whole thing. You got to evaluate, you know, and it's hard. It's hard work. You know, you can't just put on highlight tapes and watch a highlight tape. You can't go ask the tough questions, not ask the tough questions. You know, you got to do all that. And like I said, you know, very happy and very proud to have these kids, because you know there's a lot of kids in this group who are leaders, and they've had to gut through adversity, and those are my kind of guys. Those are my kind of guys.
Speaking of getting through adversity, your quarterback in the recruiting class suffered a season-ending injury last year. How has he responded to that, and do you like his mentality and mindset to continue sticking with UConn?
He's doing great. I was up and saw him a couple weeks ago. He can't wait to get here so he can continue that. He's doing everything he can. It'll even be better for him when he gets down here, you know, with Bob. And you know, he's a competitor. You know, he's a competitor. He wants to do well, and you know, he'll get down here and you know, go right through the process that we'll have set up for him.
So you don't seem concerned at all about the players who left the program, but so what would you say to fans who just like saw all those transfers and, I don't know, came to
again, all I'm talking about these guys. You know, who's ever not here, good luck. Good luck. Wish you well. And I'm just excited about these 20 guys coming in. We're going to work to try to get 5 more. If they're the right 5, if they're not, then, you know, we won't. But if there are, we will. Again, I only ever concern myself with who's here. That's all I ever concern myself with, and who wants to be here.
Can you talk a little about Brian Bruton from St. Thomas Aquinas, running back, fast kid? Talk about his recruiting process a little bit.
Yeah, he's another guy that committed early. Great program, St. Thomas Aquinas. George Smith has been a friend for years. He was the AD, he used to be the football coach and was football coach AD. Now he's the AD. Gotten kids out of that program, you know, every stop along the way. And, you know, we had Ryan Crozier here, and now we got Miles Bell here. And so, you know, George knows me, he knows the kind of program. Roger Harriet's the head coach there, did a good job. They just won a state championship there this past weekend. And Brian is a multi-position athlete that's got speed and quickness, and as a running back, you know, he can do things, you know, as a wide receiver or split him out. He's a really good return guy. You know, it reminds me of a Larry Taylor type guy that we've had here. Reminds me of a Will Likely type of guy that I had when I was at Maryland. And again, and this is all about trying to put a roster together, guys. Finding people that you can use to take care of certain situations. And this guy here gives you a lot of flexibility with a lot of things. Comes from a really good family. Guy has the ability to make some plays. Yeah, he's not maybe 6'2", but he can make a lot of good things happen. And I've had a lot of guys like him, places I've been before, and to me, he's a guy who has the ability to make plays.
Randy, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Do you have a "we were wrong on this guy" quotient? Like if you recruit 20, is there a percentage that you know probably you were wrong about or aren't going to make it 4, 2, 1? Is there an accepted quotient?
No, I mean, I don't keep track. I mean, because a lot of times what happens, you know, when certain, you see things, but then when kids get away from home, sometimes they don't handle that as well. You know, but when you go through the process and you do everything you can to make sure that you're not bringing in a mistake, you know, when it happens. But all of a sudden, when people get here, things can change. I hope they don't. And we haven't, you know, when we do all the due diligence, we don't have that many issues. So, but somebody comes here and all of a sudden they make some mistakes or whatever. They do some things that are stupid and they're no longer here.
How has social media changed recruiting? You see people like tweeting at you their huddle links and everything, and obviously there's communication and all of that and the announcements. Just how different is it in that regard from how it used to be?
Well, I mean, it's a avenue for prospective student athletes to get their stuff out there, I mean it's just the way the world we live in. You know, a lot of people get stuff out there, but you know, it's another way to communicate too with guys. And you know what? There's some of these kids don't do anything on social media. There's some that, you know, do a lot. And there's some that are kind of in between. You know, to me, the thing that makes it harder nowadays is you can't hide anybody. You know, you go and find somebody and you offer them, and if he's somebody that likes to put things on social media, you know, I just got, you know, an offer by this school, and then a lot of schools follow coaches, and if the kid tags it, then everybody sees it. Next thing you know, 30 seconds later, he's got 5 more offers, and they've never watched the film. So, I mean, that's like sometimes when, you know, we always have a discussion. If people put out they got the offer, we might not like it. I mean, click to like it. to alert me that, you know, we've offered somebody, or somebody's committed to us. Because the vultures are hovering, you know, and ready to swoop down and do those things, you know. You know, that happens. But that's the world we live in.
Have there been kids who weren't on your radar and then they tweeted something at you, or you saw their video on Twitter and that put them on your radar?
Well, you know, like I always look to see like who follows me, because you know how it comes on there, so and so followed you. So I look to see who followed me, and you know, just kind of see it. But you know, if I'm gonna, I pass it on to somebody else to look at it first. You know, for them to look at it, whoever has that area. You know, I send it to Z, and we get it to the coach in that area to evaluate. But you know, I'm not gonna, you know, take every guy. You know, but for the most part, we know guys who we're looking for. You know, in terms of the guys, because again, you know, there's a lot of guys you eliminate just because of academics. There's guys you eliminate because of character. There's guys you eliminate because of they don't fit, you know, what you're looking for athletically. And it's a tough process. And for us here at UConn, we don't have all these recruiting analysts or recruiting assistants. You know, and that's why I tell the coaches, you got to do the work. You know, you got to watch the film. I'm not having somebody else watching it and saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. No, you're going to be the guys involved with coaching these guys and everything else. So you're going to know, yeah, we might have to work a little bit harder and put a little bit more into it. And we're not going to watch, like I said, we're not going to watch highlight tapes. You're going to watch 3 games on a guy, and we're going to write a report on it. And so again, we can't afford to make mistakes. Does that mean that sometimes we might not hit on everybody, but you know, you think somebody that could be a starter, they end up being a special teams guy? You know, they're still playing for you, but maybe not in that role that you thought. But again, there's a lot of factors. But again, as long as you do the work and put the effort in to determine what you think that person can do for you, you know, and that's part of the process too. You know, we look at the things that, you know, some of these big, long defensive ends, well, some of those guys are going to be able to play special teams. But if you get guys that aren't athletic, that can't run, they can't help you on special teams. So that's part of the process too, as we evaluate. You know, because again, there's not everybody can be a starter, but there's guys that can play 4 special teams or 3 special teams or 2. There's a lot that goes into roster management. And at some point in time, if anybody wants to know, I'll sit down and take you through it. I ain't got enough time today, you know. But it's a lot harder than what some of you guys think in terms of putting a roster together and changing a roster and developing a roster. It's tough. It takes time to do that. And when you get guys that are versatile and athletic and have the ability to do certain things, it helps you because of injuries and everything else. And the thing that I like is we're getting to the point, you know, especially defensively, you know, where you have the numbers you're looking for. You got guys that have experience. Now you got guys that you can bring in who can develop and grow. And that's kind of where we are with a lot of positions. Not there with every position yet, but we're a lot closer than we've ever been. So, and like I said, we still have an opportunity to you know, bring 5 more guys in. You know, in the second hand, we have guys on our board that, you know, that we're trying to recruit. Some guys wanted to wait till February to make a decision. So we have guys there, and there will be some guys that we'll continue to evaluate. Or guys we had there, and we didn't, you know, we couldn't offer them because we thought these guys might have been just a hair, and for the numbers that we had. So you can't just, because I'm not going to go and offer a guy and then pull things back, which some people, you know, do out there.
In those 5 spots, specific targets position-wise, can you share?
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Okay.
No, I said an offensive lineman, running back, linebacker, 2 DBs. That's what we're looking at. But now, you know, if there's something, you know, maybe you get one, because I might take another offensive lineman if there's one out there and you can't get maybe a DB or something.
Yep.
You know, so there is a little bit of, you know, things that we're looking for there. So.
Very good.
Good? All right, happy holidays.
Thanks.